Hello, Sam-ariffic Science fans! So, earlier this month, for the first time in over 50 years, humans made a return to the moon, all around it before returning to Earth. Today, I'm going to recap the entire story of the mission. Before we do that, let's meet our characters. Commander Reid Wismen, Victor Glover, the pilot, the zero-gravity indicator, RISE, and the mission specialists, Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen. Sam-ariffic Science fans, today we're going to unfold the world of Artemis II.
Crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon.
The ship launched on April 1st at 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The launch was successful, and 8 minutes later, they were freed from the Space Launch System and in the orbit of Earth. Directly following this, they orbited Earth twice, testing many different things, all successfully. However, there were a few issues, including the toilet. This was obviously not great, but they found out the problem. The vent line was frozen, and because of that, the urine couldn't get through. Thankfully, they fixed it and regained access to the toilet.
A little bit of an issue with the toilet. Which one of you was the plumber?
I'll take that one. I'm the space plumber. I'm proud to call myself the space plumber. I like to say that it is probably the most important piece of equipment.
On April 2nd, they had the Trans-Lunar Injection Burn, where the Orion spacecraft's main rocket fired for 5 minutes and 50 seconds. The TLI burn was the burn that made the craft leave the Earth's orbit and head to the moon. During this time, they tested all sorts of things on the ship, practiced manual piloting, performed scientific observations, and took some really cool photos. On April 6th, they made history and became the farthest humans from Earth ever.
Yeah, from the cabin of integrity here as we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth. We do so in honoring the extraordinary efforts and feats of our predecessors in human space exploration. We will continue our journey even further into space before Mother Earth succeeds in pulling us back to everything that we hold dear. But we, most importantly, choose this moment to challenge this generation and the next to make sure this record is not long-lived.
After this happened, the Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen sent a message to Earth requesting the right for the crew to name a couple of craters. One was named Integrity, the name they called the spaceship. The other was named Carol, after Commander Reid Wismen's late wife.
And our crew would like to propose a couple of potential names for those items or those areas. And we spent a bit of time this morning looking out the window, and we're able to see them now both with our naked eye and through the long lens. And so we feel this is a good time to send this down, and a special shout out to Kelsey for helping us with this. The first one we'd like to suggest is a named crater in honor of our great spacecraft Integrity. And so if you were to look at Oriental on the far side and then draw a line straight up to Ohm on the far side, relatively in the middle is an unnamed crater, and we would like to suggest it be called Integrity in the future. And the second one, and especially meaningful for this crew, is a number of years ago we started this journey in our close-knit astronaut family, and we lost a loved one. And there's a feature in a really neat place on the moon, and it is on the near side, far side boundary. In fact, it's just on the near side of that boundary, and so at certain times of the moon's transit around Earth, we will be able to see this from Earth. And so we lost a loved one. Her name was Carol, the spouse of Reid, the mother of Katie and Ellie. And if you want to find this one, you look at Glushko, and it's just to the northwest of that, at the same latitude as Ohm, and it's a bright spot on the moon. And we would like to call it Carol, and you spell that C-A-R-R-O-L-L.
No pressure, men, but he just gave her the moon. The maximum distance they got from Earth was 406,771 kilometers, beating the Apollo 13 record by over 6,000 kilometers. While they were on the far side of the moon, they were able to observe it for future missions, making good maps and taking high-quality photos. During this time, there was also a 40-minute blackout period where they couldn't communicate with Earth at all. This was because there was a moon in the way of the radio waves. The same thing happened to Apollo 13 when they went behind the moon. On the journey back, they had some calls to make. On April 6th, they called Donald Trump, President of the United States. During this time, there was a 63-second silence reported, leaving people theorizing that the crew intentionally ignored him.
And I spoke to your Prime Minister and many other friends I have in Canada. They are so proud of you, and you have a lot of courage. I'm not sure if they'd want to do that. I'm not even sure if the Great One would want to do that, to be honest with you. But you have a lot of courage doing what you're doing, a lot of bravery and a lot of genius. But they're very, very proud of you.
Administrator Alex, I'm going to just get a quick comm check, make sure you guys are still on the line and we didn't have a handover.
I am. Yes, I am.
The next day, they called their friends on the International Space Station. This was fun because Christina Koch, Reid Wismen, and Victor Glover had all visited the station before. Following that, on April 8th, they called Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada. There was a funny interaction between him and Jeremy Hansen, but first, we need some context. On April 6th, during a live stream of Inside Integrity, a jar of Nutella was spotted floating around. 2 days later, when they called Mark Carney, he addressed this.
And I just wonder, a lot of Canadians just want one point of reassurance that the preference is for maple syrup over Nutella on your pancakes in the morning. I'll take that as a yes. I hope.
Absolutely, sir. I can send Christina to get the syrup right away, but we definitely have it on board. It can make another guest appearance.
On April 9th, it was the last full day in space, so they completed all their experiments and prepared for the next day. On April 10th was splashdown day. During the re-entry phase, they skimmed Earth's atmosphere and became the fastest people ever, going at over 40,000 kilometers per hour. Re-entry was successful and they splashed down off the coast of San Diego, USA, where members of the US Navy and NASA people came to help them back to Earth. When they landed, Reid Wismen reported 4 green crew members, but this didn't refer to the color of their skin. It meant everyone is doing great.
The ship just got a report from the undersea medical officer who is inside the capsule with the crew. He is reporting all 4 members are green. All of our 4 astronauts, Reid, Victor, Christina, Jeremy, green, meaning they are feeling great, not the complexion of their skin. They are feeling great, happy to be home, and ready to be extracted as soon as possible.
They were airlifted by helicopter off a raft-like thing called the front porch onto a boat where they returned to Earth.